Welcome to our Weekly Grooves edition of Behavioral Grooves. My name is Tim Houlihan.
And I'm Kurt Nelson. Each week, Weekly Grooves picks a current article or news topic, and we examine it through a behavioral science lens. We dig in deep to help you understand the psychology behind the headline.
The article or topic that we discuss is current, but we like to think that the insights are timeless.
And today's episode is a bit special. At least I think so. So, Tim, did you know that today, November 13th, is World Kindness Day?
I did not. I mean, not at least until you told me.
Right. And neither did I until I stumbled across an article in sciencemadefun.net. Yes, that is a real website, and everyone should go check it out. And World Kindness Day is November 13th and has been celebrated by many countries around the world since 1998.
Okay, so this sounds interesting. So, Kurt, what is World Kindness Day all about?
So the article and a quick Google search showed that World Kindness Day was developed to promote good deeds in communities and focus on how kindness binds us together. There are efforts to get people to do random acts of kindness for others and actually acting in a more kind way.
So I'm assuming that we're going to look at this day and kindness in general with a behavioral science lens, right?
That's the plan, man. You ready for this?
Okay, you bet. Let's get started with a definition of kindness.
So Webster's defines kind as an adjective where they state of a sympathetic or helpful nature, being gentle. And kindness is the quality or state of being kind or doing a kind deed or favor. So kindness is basically doing something nice for somebody, right?
Yeah. It's the deed. It's the action, right? It's the behavior of doing something that's important about kindness. It's not just saying something nice. It's doing something nice, right?
Right. And what's interesting is kindness. Although we're saying it's doing something nice, it isn't about niceness. And Mother Jones wrote this really interesting article about World Kindness Day, and its author Daniel King states, "Don't worry, kindness is not niceness. Critically skewering villains and false allies is a kindness in the public interest, and it is not a nice thing. Not nice kindness is essential." And so I think that's a pretty interesting perspective on this.
Yeah, I also want to add in, University of Santa Clara did a nice article on this, and they talked about kindness is when your motivation to do something is to spare the other person from an extra effort or an inconvenience, right? You're illuminating them with some truth or some action, or you're opening the door for them in a way that's to spare them just the inconvenience of having to open the door. Now, the converse of that is nice, right? We haven't talked about exactly what the definition of nice is, and nice, sort of the nice thing about opening the door for someone, but would be if your motivation is to create a favorable impression. And they're talking about that there's something that's kind of self-motivating about that, whereas kindness is really, really focused on the other person and the action, again, of helping someone else or doing something favorable for someone else.
You talked about illuminating truth, and I think that's a big piece of this. It's this idea of doing what is right. It's about telling the truth, even if the other person doesn't necessarily want to hear it. And so being kind sometimes can put somebody in a unfavorable position currently. They might be feeling some angst or some pain or some sorrow, but in the long run, you're being kind for that person. So There's that aspect of it.
Okay, so what does kindness do for us? What's the psychology behind kindness?
We often think about evolution and Darwin as being this concept of survival of the fittest.
Yeah, right.
But Darwin thought about this, and he thought that we were profoundly social and caring creatures, and that this idea of caring, which kindness is a aspect of, it helped us build this community and survive as a species. So part of this is kindness is part of our evolutionary history, and it helps us survive.
Right. Well, think about our conversation with Bill von Hippel, right? How can we not think about evolutionary psychology from the perspective that if we're going to be helping somebody, that in part that there's an altruism about that. If Bob breaks his leg, in the tribe, we should get Bob back to health because Bob could still be a productive member of our tribe. But there's also something that kind of reflects back on we all benefit, right? We all benefit from having this resourceful and productive member of our tribe back to health. So being kind, exerting ourselves, using our own resources in the short term helps everybody in the long term.
Right. And there are some, obviously, as you said, it helps the community, but there's also some really individual pieces that this helps with, right? So kindness has been shown to be one of the most important predictors in marriage satisfaction and stability. Yes. So if you are kind with your spouse, you will have a better marriage. There is also research that shows that pro-social acts of kindness add to your well-being. So right. That, the givers of kindness get a boost of well-being, but the community actually gets a bigger boost, which provides then, additional boost for you in the long run. It's this loop, right? You are kind to somebody that helps that person. It builds this community of trust and caring. And because you're in a community of trust and caring, you get the beneficial boost of that in the long run, which I think is really fantastic. And there was some research on that by Hugh et al. From the Psychological Bulletin. It's just really recent research that came out on that.
Yeah, this is fantastic stuff. It also just makes me think on a personal basis, when I've been in the situation where I've paid it forward in a restaurant, it really positively impacts the servers and the people who are working there. Like they're just like, oh yeah, somebody is willing to care that much to do this act of kindness to help someone that they don't know. And to think that there's this ripple effect is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic piece of kindness and why, World Kindness Day, it's really important for us to do this. The other piece of this, and we have to take this into consideration for being 2020 and all the stress and uncertainty and craziness that is going on in the world, kindness has been shown to reduce stress and boost our immune system, which reduces anxiety and relieves some negative emotions, right?
Right. Even dopamine, serotonin, endogenous opioids get released in our brain because of doing acts of kindness. This is important, and I think this came up in some work done by Alan Lux and Peggy Payne when they described the healing power of good. Right, that it's very, very powerful, and that the neural circuits that involved in the chemical highs are basically the same ones that we get through kindness and compassion.
And researcher Barbara Fredrickson talked about this from a little bit of a different perspective in some research that was kindness, specifically loving kindness, moved one out of a selfish realm and really got us off of this hedonic treadmill. And so it gets us into this world of being kind, and it brings us joy. And it's not just about what's next that I'm going to get for myself, and it's what we can do for others. And I think that's a really big and important piece.
It might be worth mentioning that Adam Grant really believes that the givers are going to get ahead more, right? That they're going to end up doing better in the long run. Not always in the short run, but definitely in the long run when it comes to sort of give and take.
Yeah, and his book, Give and Take, that was a really big piece of the research that he found is, look, in the long run, givers do better. And so being kind, giving, right, caring, concerning, doing those random acts of kindness are really, really powerful. Okay, so we've seen that there's lots of benefits from kindness, from happier marriages to improved well-being, reduced stress to increased feelings of positivity and feeling good. All these are good things, but Tim, why do we need to have a World Kindness Day, and why is that important?
Well, you teed this up earlier, Kurt. Now more than ever, our immune systems need it. Our communities need it. Our cultures need it, right? We need kindness more today than maybe any time in our recent history. And the stress from the pandemic is overwhelming. And just on an evolutionary basis, we know that the primary purpose of our immune systems is to keep us healthy. And in order to keep our immune systems healthy, we've got to do things like being kind to people, right? The political division is virtually overwhelming us right now. So being kind could help reduce that dual camp experience and reduce the impact of, well, the other side is evil. Kindness could actually be a balm to help help us think about a common goal and a common perspective that we're all Americans, that we're all under the same flag, at least in the United States. But around the world, we all have societies that we can hold up a higher goal to that would be really helpful to us right now.
Right. So kindness can help build bridges. It shows our humanity. It's difficult to be angry with someone who has been kind to you and is giving of themselves. It's really difficult when you're going, they're on the opposite side, but they just baked me cookies. How can I be pissed? So I think World Kindness Day helps us focus on this. It gives us a day to really think about this and do it. But I think that there's a fact of this that we need to take this kindness more than just a day, right? This needs to become built into our everyday actions. And so I think maybe World Kindness Day can act as an impetus. It can help us think about this and then try to build these kindness practices into our regular daily routines.
Right. Like do something kind to help someone else, right? In your neighborhood, in your community, how about even in your household?
Right.
Start there.
Yeah. Do the dishes when you're not asked to it, in the community, go buy somebody coffee. As you said, pay it forward in a restaurant or in your line of your fast food restaurant. I'm going to pay for the person behind me. Compliment somebody, write a kind letter for somebody, create a care package. In this pandemic time, you can't see somebody. You know what? Show that you care. Give them a care package, put it together, send it out.
Give your mail carrier a treat. Like, man, working in the post office these days has got to be tough. Like, just leave a little treat for them. Just leave a little note. Even just recognize the fact that they're doing the hard work.
Right. And, if behavioral science folks, give a book to somebody. There's like tons of great new behavioral science books, or even do a novel, trashy novel to let them escape for a little bit, Call an old friend just to chat. Too often we send texts or an email or we don't connect at all. Those things are kind. Just do something kind. Be focused on that and be purposeful about it.
Yeah. Pick up the phone. Yeah. But the important part of all of this is do it. It's not about saying it. It's about doing it, right?
Yeah.
The act of kindness. That's the important part.
Well, I think we've covered this all. So let's do a recap.
Okay, so again, World Kindness Day is today, November 13th. It's not just this year, but it's every year. Okay, it was developed to promote people going out and doing good deeds in their communities to show and demonstrate how kindness binds us together.
Kindness has lots of positive impacts on us, helps our well-being, reduces our stress, builds stronger and more satisfying marriages, makes us feel good. It also builds positivity in our communities, which has a positive long-term impact on our overall well-being.
Finally, we think that this World Kindness Day couldn't have come at a more opportune time. We are facing a world that feels strained and worn down, and we have been dealing with a pandemic, with social justice tensions, with protests, with people feeling bereft because of recent political divisions. We need a boost of goodwill. We need a boost of kindness. We need a boost to our immune system, and kindness could help us overcome that.
We don't typically offer a groove idea in weekly grooves, but this week we are. Our groove idea is to take World Kindness Day and make it World Kindness Week, and maybe World Kindness Month, and maybe World Kindness Year. Go out and do a random act of kindness every day this week. It will make you feel good, but it will also make the world a better place.
Well, that wraps up this episode, and we hope that you enjoyed this and found it useful. If you did, please share it with a friend, mention us on social media, maybe leave us a review on Apple or whatever podcast service that you use. And please let us know if you take up our challenge of doing some good each day this week for the next week. We'd love to hear about what happened to you and how it went. Let us know via Twitter or other social media avenue. Just let us know. We'd love to hear about it. And with that, we hope you go out and find your groove this week.